This is Rocking with Jam Man. Is with Spider One. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? Where are you located?
I am in Buffalo, New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. All right. I'm from the East Coast originally,
Oh,
from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, eh?
So not too far. Yeah. But now I live in LA, so because I couldn't take the cold weather.
Couldn't take the cold. Never batted me anyway.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll see you later.
Congratulations on your new podcast, Bleeders Digest.
Digest. Yeah. Bleeders Digest.
Yeah, Bleeders
Spelled DIE, like die. Yeah.
Digest. Die.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. It's a cool project that I started with some friends, and it's all original scary stories, and it's sort of like told, it's narrated, and we have actors and we use sound design, so it really feels like you're immersed in this world. And every week, every Thursday, there's a new story that comes out. And yeah, so far so good. We put the first two out last week and people are digging it, and people seem to really like it. And so the new one comes out, next one comes out tomorrow. Have you listened yet?
Yeah, I listened. Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
good. Dude,
Thanks.
I loved it so much. It was cool and scary, and it was like the old school storytelling. And I like,
Yeah, well, that's right. That's sort of what we're going for. It's sort of like, well, I mean, we're too young to remember, but back in the day, before TV and the internet, people sat around the radio and listened to stuff like that, like, immersive dramas on the radio, and you had to use your imagination, and you just had the sounds. And so, we're sort of inspired by those old school radio broadcasts.
I'm going camping next week, and I'm just gonna be playing this by the fire. I just,
Yeah.
I love the Whisper. That ending, no spoilers, just was awesome. No spoilers.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you have very good writing about it. It's just amazing. It's like it's like supposed to say like there's someone in your head or someone that's
Yeah.
guiding you. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like, yeah, and I think the trick to these stories is, like you said, it's, you don't want to give away the ending, but like when you're listening, you want to bring in the listener, and just put them on a journey where they don't quite know where they're going to end up, because you only got 15, 20 minutes to grab them. And so, just coming up with a cool twist at the end, or, and that's really that's the hard part too, when you write these stories is, because you don't want somebody listening going like, oh, I know where this is going to end up. You know what I mean?
Your second story, Spider Lady, was super creepy.
Yeah, that one was written by Chrissy Fox. She's a partner in the podcast, and she that was actually that story was actually inspired by well, didn't happen to her, but she one day she was out, and she got a spider nest in her hair, and it freaked her out so bad that it just inspired that story. So yeah, that one's really creepy, and that one is the voice of, I don't know if you know who Bonnie Aarons is. She played, remember, the movie The Nun,
Oh
and
yeah, is she the one that
she's
was?
like a really scary nun. That's the woman who read that story.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that story was like in my head. It just was like a picture book to me because in my head I could make it all together. I was imagining her like using her fingertips and her toes and you know
Yeah, for
uh,
sure.
the bleeding and stuff like that. Very
Yeah, it's
creepy,
pretty gross.
but I definitely enjoyed it. So, do you call your girlfriend Spider Lady? Do you call your girlfriend?
That's right. Yeah, Spider Girl, right? Imagine. That's hilarious. I should start doing that.
So, what inspired you to do this podcast?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I've always, done music, and I've done that forever, and had Powerman, 5,000, my band, and then I transitioned to a lot of directing films and TV stuff, and writing films. And but making a movie or a TV show is enormous amount of effort. It's like it takes a lot of people, and it takes a lot of time. um So this idea of doing these podcasts are kind of like making movies, but without the visuals, obviously. But it's not as hard because you can do it by yourself. I mean, and so it just seemed like an exciting idea. A couple of friends of ours who have another podcast called the Boo Crew, which is more of an interview style podcast where they interview like actors and directors of horror movies. And they actually approached us with the idea because they had heard of a bunch, some other kind of like narrative storytelling podcasts that were really cool. And they're like, wouldn't it be fun to do something like this? And so we all joined forces and came together and just gave it a shot. And so far, so good. It seems to be going well.
Now, how is this different from Allegoria?
Well, Allegoria is a movie. So that one is, I'm almost done with that one. I'm shooting 2 more days this month, and then I'll be done shooting that. And that's a movie. That's so that what that is, it's cool. It's 5 separate stories that all sort of intertwine together. And they're all based around, I say it's 5 stories about art and monsters. So it's like each story is based on a different art form, and in that the scary stuff manifests from that concept, and we create monsters and scary stuff. And but I mean, they sort of they function in the same way, that they're scary and weird, and you don't quite know what's going to happen. You just get on a crazy journey.
I hope this podcast gets picked up by Netflix and get made into a show, because I would.
You should be my manager, because that's exactly what I hope happens too. I think that is kind of the goal, right? You make all these great stories and you have all this content, and maybe some like Netflix or whoever comes along and says like, we love this. Like, we'd love to start to develop some of these into shows.
I would love that. It would be such a great show for me.
Oh, thanks. Do you like do you watch a lot of horror movies, or is that?
Yeah, I've watched horror since I was 5.
So what are some of your favorites?
One of my favorites was definitely It, the first one. And the remake, and I like gory stuff, so definitely like Evil Dead. I just love horror basically. And there's one movie I watched when I was like 5 or 6 or something like that. It was just like about this girl. She was like dead, but she was like possessed by a ghost or a demon, and 2 operators in the hospital that had to work on her, but she could do stuff for, like, she could move her toes, and it would like make, and all the other dead bodies came back to life to like try to get them, and then stuff like that.
Oh wow. I don't know. Do you know what the name of that is?
It was like a Autopsy Genjo.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. It's a really good one. I know
you. Yeah, I was like you. At an early age, I watched a lot of like horror movies and read a lot of comic books and watched a ton of TV, and I was into science fiction and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think, at a very early age, I just would watch anything I could find.
I know you just did a short film last year. Did you ever want to make it a feature length? Yeah,
well, I mean, that's how this Allegoria is going to be a feature length film, and it kind of started with the short films. So I started making these short films, and then I realized, like, wouldn't it be cool to put these all together? And so the short film started to develop into this feature. So that's what that's going to be. And then, I have other scripts that I've written as well that I'm going to try and get going this year, and just stay as busy as possible. I mean, it's with COVID, it was weird because we had to stop touring and music kind of just grinded to a halt. So I had to find a lot of other things to do to stay busy. So I started writing a lot, writing scripts. So I've got a few feature scripts done, and we shot a lot of these films, safely with small crews, and followed all the COVID protocol. And so those are all going to start coming out pretty soon. And then I'm working on a comic book. I'm just like trying to do so many things, I just want to stay busy.
I gotta read that comic book. I gotta read everything or listen to everything you made, because it's
man.
An amazing mind about horror, and it's mind blowing to me because I miss that kind of horror. So thank you for bringing that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for listening and watching.
So what are the holidays like in the Cummings house?
Pretty normal and boring, Honestly, it's like I think people think that like, you know, there's some crazy shit going on, but we're pretty normal, pretty normal stuff.
Seriously though, is it a competition between you and your brother, or are you just too glad that you both are successful?
Yeah, I don't think we ever had a competitive thing. We tend to like support each other and like bounce ideas off each other. And it's funny. Like, yeah, we just kind of like followed the same path because we're only a couple of years different in age, and we grew up, you know, loving the same stuff and watching the same movies and reading the same books. And so it just made sense that we kind of, I think people think it's strange sometimes. They're like, wow, it's so weird that you and your brother do a lot of the same things, but to me, it makes perfect sense. I think it would be weirder if, he was in a band and made horror movies and I was an accountant or something. You'd be like, well, what happened to you? So, yeah, no real competitive thing. Just, there's plenty to go around for everybody, and, just try to stay happy and busy.
Well, I have to ask, when brothers are both into music and want to be in the band, they usually form a band together. What happened? Why didn't that happen with you two?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I guess, it's interesting you asked that because now that I think about it, a really, really long time ago, when Rob started White Zombie, he asked me if I wanted to play guitar for White Zombie, but the only problem was I didn't know how to play guitar. So I would I would have had to learn. And so I never really learned. I mean, I could play a little bit, but we're both, we both sing. So, unless we wanted to have two singers in a band, I guess it wouldn't really work out. But you're right. You think about brothers, you think about Oasis and the Black Crowes and the Kinks. There's been quite a few bands with brothers in them.
Yeah, it's been quite true.
Hanson, right? Hanson.
Yeah, you guys could have been the Metal Hanson.
That's right. Imagine that.
Did you ever think about doing a side project together?
That's a lot of people ask that, like, why don't we do more together? It would be fun. I mean, we've done a little things here and there, nothing like major, but it would be fun to do that. Maybe someday. There's no plan to. It's so funny. We both have so many things going on. It's like trying to squeeze one more thing in would be hard to do.
Maybe like you guys can make a crossover with like one of your like, how about we cross over Whisper with the double rejects or something like that?
Yeah, well, it'd be cool. Maybe get him to voice one of the podcast stories.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow, that's a cheap.
I'm gonna ask him. I'm telling him you gave me the idea. Then he can't say no.
Okay. When you guys came up with the stage names Rob Zombie and Spider One, did you ever run them by each other, another for input?
No, I mean, I think Rob added the zombie because obviously his first band was White Zombie, so that made sense, I guess. For me, Spider came up. I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago. Kind of like just a joke, really. Like coming up with a weird. Oh, I remember why. Okay, here it was. See, you're like, my memory is coming back to me. So originally, before I started Powerman 5000, I started a band, and it didn't last very long, but it was called Spider Baby, which was also based on the name of a movie called Spider Baby. And so that band never happened, but the spider part stuck and just ended up being Spider, And then when we did the album Tonight the Stars Revolt, which was very like sci-fi influenced, it was we were like, we came up with the concept of every band member would have an assigned number, very futuristic feeling. And so I picked one, and then a couple of the other guys, everyone picked their own number. So that's how that all came to be.
What is your favorite movie made by your brother?
Oh, good question. I really loved the Halloween remake, the first one, a lot. I thought that one was great. And I actually enjoyed the latest of the trilogy, Three from Hell, a lot. I thought that one, the newest one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and
I'd say those might be my two favorites. And I know that he's working on the remake of the Munsters, so that should be pretty cool.
God, the Munsters.
I haven't seen anything from it though yet, so I can't can't give you any exclusive. I know nothing about it, but I know other than he's doing
Oh, dang it. Do you have any plans to tour this summer?
We have plans to tour in September, September, October, as long as the world doesn't come crashing down again. That's the plan. We're going to go out for about 3 weeks, just to kind of test. We haven't played a show since February 2020. So it's been crazy. I mean, I've never gone that long without, I don't think I've ever gone a couple of months without playing a show. So it's going to be really weird getting back on tour and getting back into the band mindset and traveling and playing every night. And I honestly don't, it's going to, I hope I remember the lyrics because it's.
Yeah, it's like, and let's hope people are like, how dare he not do this? Let's hope he don't get canceled or something like that, you know?
Yeah. So that's the plan. And hopefully it goes well and, COVID doesn't go crazy again and we're able to go out and play some shows.
Well, I think you're gonna do fantastic, dude.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
You have played with some huge acts: Kiss, Black Sabbath, Marilyn Manson, just to name a few. Who was your favorite out of everyone?
Wow. Well, yeah, you're right. We've played with so many big bands. I think one of the coolest experiences for me was one of the first big tour we ever got to do was we opened for Kiss when they when they put the original lineup back together. And so that was cool because as a kid, I was just a huge Kiss fan. So it was really surreal, it's like, wow, how did I get here? I'm like playing a show with these guys that I listened to when I was 10 years old, So that was great. And, being on one of the first Oz Fests because we've got to play with Pantera and Manson and Typo Negative and Black Sabbath and Ozzy. So, just to be able to share the stage with these guys was so weird because before my last, real job before devoting myself to music was working at a record store at Tower Records. And so, I would put these guys' records on the shelf and put price tags on them and sell, and so it's pretty weird when you go from stocking someone's record on the shelf to be able to share the stage with them, So it's been like an amazing journey of just going to cool places and meeting a million different people and playing shows with these bands that now you consider your friends, it's cool.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, dude. Going through your adventures, playing with someone that you looked up to as a kid. That seems amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. Being in a band, it's allowed me to go places that I never probably would have ever gone. To China and Japan and all over Europe and all over every state in the country. And a lot of people don't have that option. And so it's to me, that's almost like the coolest thing about it, just all the experiences that I've got to have that I just probably wouldn't have ever had.
Do you think it's fair what happened to Marilyn Manson?
I mean, I don't really know, it's hard for me to comment because who knows, right? Like, I mean, you have to believe people when they say something bad has happened to them. So I definitely believe the accusers, but I don't know, I'm not there when I mean, I know him, I've toured with him and he was always very nice to me. But it's hard to say, I you don't know what people's personal lives are really like. So hopefully everyone involved is, ends up being okay. And, that's all you can wish for.
I just don't get how people can be like, hey, I want to know something a long time ago. This person did something to me. And instead of getting away from that person or telling on that person then, I just keep it into myself now and never get the person as their side of the story.
So you're saying what? You think that people should speak up right away?
I'm not trying to I'm just trying to say, like, it's weird that how they just keep it to themselves for years instead of just telling it happened when it did happen to them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I understand that. I think sometimes though, maybe people are afraid or, you know what it's like when you know it takes somebody else to stand up, and then you have the courage to say something as well.
I
That could be.
I can get like I can get if somebody was scared that they might just get killed by them, or I can get that. But yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it's hard to know. Like I try not to pass judgment on people because unless I know exactly the story, you know, who knows?
would you tour with him again? Because it would be awesome.
That's interesting. That would I mean, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what he ends up doing because it's hard once you get yourself in a situation like this. Like I think he still has a lot of fans that will stand by him no matter what. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the future. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would tour with him right now, but you know.
What are the chances of the new Metal Rifle tour still happening? What are the chances of that?
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, that was going to be a fun tour, but it just because of COVID just got. I mean, we'll probably do it some other way, some other form. The tour in September, October is just it's us headlining. So like I said, this is sort of like for me, it's just like getting back in there and getting my stage legs back, I suppose. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more bigger tours in the future we'll put together with other bands.
I spoke with Paul from Saliva, and he still wants it to happen.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, yeah, I'm sure it will. I think they were also going back and forth or whether or not they were gonna have their original singer or keep the new. So I don't know. I don't really know where they're at with that right now. So I think when we were going to tour, I think the plan was that the original singer was supposed to come back and do that tour, but then he didn't. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? It was pretty crazy that we recorded their hits with their new singer. It was like, sorry, Josie, but you're done here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times bands will do that because they get the legally can. When you sign a record deal, usually like the record company has a certain amount of years where they kind of own that recording and that song, and then after a certain amount of time, you can re-record it. You can do whatever you want with it, and so they probably decided, well, why don't we just make new versions with the new guy, and we own those ones and make some money off that, and
Are
and
you?
I don't know what their relationship is like with the original singer. I don't know if it's friendly or not. So
They said it was like okay. They're just fine with each other. They're not like how
I mean, I guess if they were going to tour together, they must be okay.
yeah, yeah. Are you excited to get back on the road?
That's a good question. I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's weird having gone this long. Like I said, I've never gone this long without playing a show for the last 20 years. It's going to be weird. Like I've almost gotten used to not, but I am excited to, there really is like, hanging out with my bandmates and my crew and stuff. It's just such a fun time that I'm excited. And I know everybody else is excited to get back together. We still have like a group text message where we just, talk shit to each other all the time because we miss each other, because, you spend so much time together and traveling and it's just, it's become such a part of everybody's life that it's weird that it stopped so suddenly. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm a little nervous to just get back into it. It's been so long.
Is it harder doing a handful of shows instead of a full tour?
No, sometimes because it's the same amount of preparation. You still got to rehearse. You got to get merchandise. You got to get all the wardrobe. All the stuff. Get the crew together. Get the gear ready. So it's almost like whether you do one show or 30 shows. It's like it's the same amount of work. So it's usually better to do as many as you can. And then you also get into a rhythm. After usually takes a few shows to get back in the groove and get the set list correct. And so yeah, to me it's better to do as many as you can. I try to put as many shows in a short amount of time as possible. We usually play 6 nights a week, and just by the end of the month you're just dead, but that's how you do it, man.
What is your favorite memory from playing a show?
Wow. I mean, I have so many, it's kind of like goes back to what we were talking about earlier about just finding yourself in these places that you never expected to be, you know. Like I said, watching, playing shows with these bands that you grew up listening to, or finding yourself. I remember one in being going to China. That was a really cool thing because one, I first of all, I was like, who's even going to know who we are in China? Like, I just thought, what I mean? Like, how would they even know who we are? And they did. And it was, such a cool experience to find yourself someplace you never thought you would be. So that's definitely one of the highlights.
What is your worst memory?
Say that one more time.
What is your worst memory from playing the show?
Worst memory, God, there's a lot of those too. It's funny though. Sometimes what you think is going to be a terrible night or terrible show ends up being some of the best ones. Like sometimes you find yourself in some venue that's not the greatest place and not in the greatest, city, and not that many people show up for the show or whatever, and you think, this is going to be terrible, and then you end up having like one of your best nights because it's a different vibe and it's a different thing. So I don't necessarily have any bad memories because I think we also try to make every show the best it can be. So a lot of bands get very funny about that, like, they get like a little bit diva-ish, they get, if things aren't exactly what they want, but we're not really like that. We'll just kind of like do the best job we can no matter where we are.
What's next for you?
More of the same, man. Like I said, this month I'm finishing up Allegoria, and that's the film. So that's going to be a big project to get done. Keep hammering away at this podcast, trying to make it as successful as possible. We've got news stories every week coming out. Like I said, I'm trying to get this comic book done, and then go on tour in September, and then probably sooner than later work on some new music for the next Powerman record too. So, and somewhere in between that, try to sleep or something, Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get some sleep. So, because I also got a busy summer as well. I just actually they're actually asking if I could be in a movie, and it's gonna be until July 15th until September 10th. So
what movie is that? You're gonna be in which movie is it?
I don't know which movie. I didn't ask, or my dad didn't ask.
Who asked you to be in it?
XL Modeling. Well, it was an old company that I used to work with when I was a kid. I am a kid, but you know how I heard. But like,
that's cool. Well, congratulations. So you're gonna do some acting?
Yeah, and interviewing. So I'm gonna have to be doing it on the set. So yeah,
that's great.
Stay up. I'm gonna have to stay up a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Those are some long days.
Yeah. Sometimes they're gonna be long, sometimes they're gonna be short.
Yep.
Let's hope there's a lot of short days. How do my followers follow you?
The usual places, you know what I mean? You can follow me on Instagram. You can, I have my own personal stuff. Powerman 5000 has stuff. Bleeders Digest has stuff. Bleeders Digest you can find on all Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the usual places. We're everywhere, man.
So what are the chances of you sending me an autograph?
An autograph picture?
Yeah, for my collection. I have a collection.
Of course I can do that. How about this? You have my email.
Okay.
You can send me your address and I will absolutely do that.
Thank you. I always have to, I always think so, like, so it's just, I always act weird when I ask the question sometimes to big guys, so.
Oh, of course, man. You must have a pretty good collection.
Oh, yeah, I got one from Black Sabbath, I got one from, I just got a lot of autographs, let's just say. I just got a lot of autographs from horror people, horror actors, stuff like that.
That's going to be, cool, man. Like you collect that, look back in like 10 years from now and see all the crazy stuff that you have and all the cool people you've met. Who's your favorite band that you got an autograph from?
I think it had to be Black Sabbath. I don't know yet.
Black Sabbath's pretty major.
I got the drummer. I got the drummer one, the new one.
Tommy?
Tommy Kleptos, right?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
He played drums for Rob for a while.
I don't know if I will have a favorite. It's just that I'm gonna treat them all equally because there's.
Now, what about some horror actors? Who do you have?
Oh my God, I got one from Tony Todd. He's actually like he's like a personal friend of her family. He's a
Oh, cool. Candyman.
Candyman. Did you know they're actually making a new one?
Yeah, produced by Jordan Peele, I think. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show so much.
Of course.
On the show. I hope the next time we talk is at the backstage of one of your shows, dude.
That's right.
Well,
thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Have a good one. Bye.